hope so. Tisha, thank you for that lovely introduction, and more importantly, thank you for creating this forum for us to have this very important discussion. I am thrilled to be here in Denver to discuss the mission possible for our industry. The mission of the Government and Public Affairs Organization in BP America is to keep our finger on the public pulse, to connect with that pulse, and to represent the various businesses in our company and our employees. We keep the lines of communication open to legislators and regulators at the federal, state, and local levels. We cultivate relationships with the news media, which allows us to explain what we are doing and why we are doing it. And we are responsible for community relations, which allows us to give back to the communities and the people who live in the areas closest to our operations and assets. Our industry's license to operate depends on our ability to listen to, engage with, and be a part of the public. We need to hear, respect, and act on their opinions. One of the ways that we do that is by investing in our surrounding communities and encouraging our employees to engage as well. We are not just a company that operates a business down the street. We are your neighbors and friends. You see us at the grocery store, at the kids' sporting events, at church, buying gas at the service station. Our being a part of the fabric of the communities where we operate helps ensure that we have the support of our communities to deliver domestic energy solutions for consumers, and reality for each of us. Community investment is key, not only for energy development, but also for any business looking to be a good corporate citizen. After all, what business does not want to be seen as a part of the community where it operates? The goal should be to be seen as an integral part of the fabric that supports and holds a community together. We at BP have agreed to accept, in fact, embrace the community investment mission, particularly in the Rocky Mountain region. Energy development varies from state to state and region to region. Sometimes we develop in vast open landscapes like Wamsutter, Wyoming. Sometimes our development is in traditional energy towns like Farmington, New Mexico. And while our coal bed methane development in Colorado is occurring in a traditional natural gas basin, there are multiple surface users and new residents in the area who are unaccustomed to energy development. BP has long been one of the leading investors in oil and gas development in North America. BP is the second largest natural gas producer in Colorado. All of our natural gas development occurs in the San Juan Basin, in and around the communities of Durango, Bayfield, and Ignacio. Our well sites are on state, private, and tribal surface. La Plata County developed a robust county code for oil and gas operations, and BP executed a memorandum of understanding with that county that governs our future expansion plans. Durango, if any of you have had the pleasure of visiting, and I think it's absolutely beautiful there, is also a beautiful region that attracts many tourists, retirees, and outdoor enthusiasts. Many of these visitors and new residents are unfamiliar with energy production, so they naturally have questions and concerns about our operations. It is our responsibility to provide those answers and answer those questions in a responsible way. Our effort to advance that goal was started in 2006 when BP established a Community Advisory Panel, or CAP, to help educate the surrounding community about our operations and get the community engaged in the discussion. It is important to note that this forum is a two-way street. A company that is better understood allows people to be better advocates on its behalf for the very energy that we supply. Based on their input, we provide responses and we look for solutions. We often ask the CAP for advice on strategies to communicate new programs to the public, and we seek their support. The CAP itself is actually designed to touch various stakeholders in the community: ranchers, educators, emergency responders, medical providers, tribal representatives, as well as near neighbors and mineral interest owners. When I was last down at the Durango Operations Center last year, I had the pleasure of attending a meeting and sharing dinner with our CAP members. They gather monthly to cover an agenda that includes discussing community events, upcoming BP activities, recent BP investments, and concerns they've heard expressed by their friends and neighbors. We often also provide speakers for their meetings on a particular topic of interest that has come up. The CAP has heard from industry trade association representatives, experts on air and water issues, staff from the State Division of Wildlife, as well as state elected officials. Listening is the key to the success of the CAP. The diverse group of stakeholders can help us better design our developments and do so with maximum public support. For example, thanks to the suggestion from the CAP, we now fund a position at the Operations Center for a landowner relations specialist. That person gets to know our neighbors and works to help resolve their issues. Listening is important, but respect for the information conveyed is the second concept that is critical to maintaining our license to operate. As I previously mentioned, energy development in the San Juan Basin occurs in a diverse development area. Because of that landscape, the industry has committed to a local Good Neighbor Pledge. Through a hotline number maintained by the La Plata County Energy Council, we provide a single point of contact for complaints or compliments about energy operations. The line is managed by Executive Director Christy Zeller, who directs the inquiry to the correct operator. She and the La Plata County Energy Council provide a fantastic local interface with the public for operators and contractors in the San Juan Basin. In an area with diverse and competing land issues such as agriculture, tourism, residential and energy development, BP works with the community and the county and surface owners to minimize our impact by conducting our infill development on existing well pads when feasible. This means we design special safety equipment and use certain size drill rigs to fit on existing well pads. We also take into consideration nearby farming operations, placement in relationship to homes, and we work with our neighbors to minimize the visual impact of our operations. As part of our MOU with La Plata County, we are electrifying our field as much as possible in order to minimize noise and emissions from equipment on the well pads. And I would actually again like to convey our appreciation to the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission for recognizing our innovative wildlife mitigation program with the Colorado Division of Wildlife. It is another program that we hope addresses community concerns. It is also important to invest in the communities where we operate. An investment looks different depending on the area. In Wamsutter, we learned that in order to provide more services and improve the safety of our employees, we needed to invest in the local community to help them design and provide basic services. Along with matching money from the state of Wyoming, we contributed over $6 million to fund a child care center, a medical center, town infrastructure, and a community park. The state located and funded a school in the town. Now employees have the option of living closer to our operations center, thus avoiding an hour-long commute on sometimes treacherous roads. Investment around our Durango Operations Center, however, looks very different from Wamsutter. One of the biggest challenges the Durango community faces is the cost of housing. Many first-time home buyers find the housing supply constricted by the tourism-based economy and the influx of retirees and second homeowners. We recognized this and decided to help by making a $1.25 million investment in the BP Neighbors Fund through the Regional Housing Alliance. I'd like to share a quick video with you from the Alliance about that investment. It was there yesterday, and now it seems to be gone. Well, you're pulling it up? Because I will move on if you're not. Well, actually, it was a really great story, and it actually was with the Alliance membership representative there who was sharing with you the impact that we've been able to have by providing housing. It's unfortunate that you're not able to see it because it was sort of a personal testimony, which I think you all would have appreciated. The Regional Housing Alliance is just one example of the initiative that serves a critical community need and will continue as a lasting investment for the future. Another component for ensuring the ongoing success of a community is to be a part of its foundation through educating the future. In addition to energy-related teaching grants, we are making grants to school districts to fund integrated programs with local nonprofits, such as the Durango Nature Center and one of my favorites, the Durango Discovery Museum. BP has been a founding investor in the museum's growth from a vacant power plant along the riverfront to a vibrant children's center of education. I had the pleasure of visiting while it was still at its development stage and then attending the opening gala there this spring. It was so exciting. Our most recent $150,000 investment will fund an exhibit called Run a Power Plant that will demonstrate the various supplies of energy to the investors. The transformation is remarkable, and the opportunity for learning in that setting is powerful. To encourage young children and students' interests in science, technology, engineering, and math is critical for our industry's continued ability to be innovative and to grow. My nephew is 8 years old, and he lives in Detroit, Michigan. I will take him to visit the Durango Discovery Museum one day, where he will see a pathway to the museum that has the names of those that support this wonderful effort. And he will look down and see his name in one of the stone squares, because his Auntie Chrissy wanted him to be a part of this great future. All of this does not just happen. You must have relationships, genuine ones fostered out of common interests and goals. It is not financial support to local organizations in the communities where we do business. It is not just that. We also encourage BP employees to donate their time, money, and effort in the community. Nationally, BP employees have given over 30,000 hours of their time to volunteer efforts in 2010. This weekend, in fact, we have a group of our employees, approximately 20, volunteering at the La Plata County Family Center's Back to School Fair. This is an opportunity for lower-income families to collect new school supplies and start the year ready to learn. BP also matches dollar-for-dollar amounts that employees donate to nonprofit organizations, up to $5,000 a year per employee. In Colorado, that came to almost $84,000 in 2010 to local organizations. The BP Fabric of America Fund is another way we use to support employee engagement. Funded wholly by the company, it allocates $300 annually to every US-based BP employee, which they then donate to a tax-exempt organization of their choice. In 2010, our employees contributed $2.9 million. Since its inception in 2007, the Fabric of America program has made over $15 million available across the country to programs that matter to our employees. In Colorado in 2010, there were 132 donations totaling just over $34,000. I'm going to try this one more time. We're going to share a clip about another place that we engage in the community, the Pine River Senior Center in Bayfield, Colorado. Yay!
My mother and her friends were members of what they call the Senior Citizens Group for 25, 30 years. And they kept having to move from place to place. They would rent one place and stay there a while, and then the owners would say, well, we have a need for this place. You're going to have to move.
We had known there was a big need for a long time, but with the financial resources that we had as a small town, it really didn't seem like it was a feasible endeavor. We approached BP initially knowing that they'd been a strong neighbor in our community for many years and that there was some potential there for a nice public-private partnership. And that's what sets BP apart, is they're willing, even when times are tough, to say, we're good neighbors and we're going to help make this happen. This facility is really important to Bayfield. Number one, it's a dedicated senior center, so that's the primary focus. But in addition to that, it's a community facility. We've hosted events, everything from emergency management training through the fire department. We had the school district superintendent's retirement party here. We rent the facility for weddings. So this is literally a community amenity.
I think one of the best parts, it gets the seniors out of their homes, gets them more active, and it's amazing what you can learn from the senior citizens and the stories that they like to get together and reminisce about. And I think most of them come mainly for the sociability.
After the senior center was built, the next year BP comes back and says, we'd like to help you enhance operations. I mean, it amazes me that that level of generosity exists anywhere. And I'm just proud to be part of a community where that takes place. And I can say with confidence that BP is an excellent neighbor. And we want to return that favor and be excellent neighbors for BP and keep this relationship going strong for years to come.
These are broad corporate programs, but I also want to mention local contributions committees. These committees are comprised of local employees who meet monthly to review small community grants. For example, in Durango, they have a budget of approximately $90,000 per year. The committees have guidelines and criteria for funding, but they are flexible enough to enable quick response to emerging needs. In most cases, BP employees are able to participate in the events and present the checks to the organization in person, from cancer walks to rehabilitating wildlife areas. These committees represent real opportunities for our employees because, again, we don't just work in these communities, we live there. Investment and development in a region is more than trucks, pump jacks, and steel pipes. Energy operations impact communities in different ways in order to operate efficiently and effectively. We need public support. So we must listen, respect, invest, and engage. One of the things that you quickly learn in an energy business like ours is that very little happens quickly. When we arrive to do business in a community, we put down roots because we are planning to stay for a while. With all that we harvest from this region, there must be a determined and strategic plan to invest in the community. That is what we are striving to provide. We accept the mission to be a community partner in our region, and I thank you for your attention, and I look forward to the conversation and the discussion and my colleagues' presentation shortly. Thank you for your time.